Hello everyone. Today, we're in Budapest, one of Europe's most captivating cities. Stretching across both banks of the Danube River, this city draws you in from the very first moment with its rich history. Dazzling lights, iconic bridges, and fairy tale atmosphere. Today, we're going to explore 7 must-see places that truly capture the spirit of Budapest. So, if you're ready, let's get started because this city is truly unforgettable. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Yes, we're about to begin exploring this historic city, the capital of Hungary, together. As you stroll through the streets of Budapest, keep an eye out for little surprises along the way. The tiny bronze sculptures created by the renowned sculptor Kolodko Miholy are hidden throughout different corners of the city. You might come across a frog on a street corner, a soldier lying on a bench, or even a little crab. As you search for these miniature works of art, you'll find yourself discovering the city in a whole new way. Budapest will captivate you with surprises at every turn. Now let's begin exploring Budapest while uncovering these hidden treasures along the way. Right now, we're at one of the most emotional and thought-provoking places in Budapest, Liberty Square. At first glance, it looks like a peaceful green park where people come to relax. But as you walk further into the square, the monuments and the personal items left behind quickly remind you that this is much more than just a beautiful public space. In front of us is the memorial to the victims of the German occupation. At the top stands a large black eagle, representing Nazi Germany. Beneath it is a woman with her wings spread, reaching upward. The monument commemorates the suffering of World War II, especially the lives that were shattered under Nazi persecution, people who were torn from their families and forced from their homes. But what touches people most are the small memorials placed directly in front of the monument. Photographs, old suitcases, shoes, stones, and handwritten notes. Each of these items has been left here to honor the memory of Jewish families who suffered during the Nazi era. When you look at an old suitcase, you can almost imagine it as the last possession a family managed to take while fleeing their home. When you look at a photograph, you are looking into the face of someone who once lived, loved, and had a life of their own. I think that's what makes this place so powerful. The tragedy isn't told through grand speeches or dramatic displays, but through small, ordinary objects. A pair of shoes, an old family photograph, a stone quietly placed on the ground. Together, they send a silent yet deeply moving message. These people existed. They lived, they loved, they had families, they had homes. And their stories should never be forgotten. You'll also notice a reddish stone structure in the park that looks like a fountain. This is the Széchenyi Memorial Fountain, also known as the Virág Fountain. The Hungarian word virág means flourish, bloom, or come to life. The fountain reflects the park's quieter, historic character and symbolizes renewal, growth, and the continuation of life. When you visit Liberty Square, don't just stop for a quick look at the monument and move on. Take your time. Look closely at the photographs, the suitcases, the stones, and all the small details. Now we're leaving Liberty Square and heading into the park right next to it. At first glance, it seems like a peaceful and relaxing green space. But right in the middle of the park stands one of Budapest's most controversial monuments. This is the Soviet Heroes Memorial. It was erected in 1945 to honor the Soviet soldiers who lost their lives while liberating Budapest from Nazi occupation at the end of World War II. After the war, Hungary remained under Soviet influence for nearly 45 years, a period that many Hungarians associate more with oppression than with freedom. That's why this monument has remained the subject of controversy for decades. As you walk through the square today, you can see the vibrant life of modern Budapest on one side, while on the other, you are reminded of a chapter of history that has never been fully closed. As we continue walking through Liberty Park, we come across the statues of Ronald Reagan and George Bush. These statues symbolize the support the United States gave Hungary during its transition to democracy. This is how history appears before us in the most unexpected moments. Now we're heading toward the famous Hungarian Parliament building. This is not only the most iconic landmark of Budapest, but also one of the most important symbols of all of Hungary, rising majestically along the banks of the Danube River. This magnificent building looks like something straight out of a fairy tale, yet it is still the active seat of the Hungarian Parliament today. This remarkable building was designed by the Hungarian architect Andrássy Avenue. Construction began in 1885 and after nearly 20 years of work, was completed in 1904. There's also a touching detail behind its history. Sadly, Steindl never lived to see his masterpiece completed. He lost his eyesight during the construction and passed away shortly before the building was finished. The Parliament building is renowned for its neo-Gothic architecture. Its soaring spires, intricate stone carvings, and enormous central dome make it one of the most impressive buildings in Europe. Its sheer size is equally astonishing. The building contains 691 rooms, 29 staircases, and 27 entrances. The exterior is decorated with dozens of statues depicting Hungary's most important kings, military leaders, and statesmen. One of the building's most significant areas is the Grand Hall beneath the central dome. Here, the Holy Crown of St. Stephen, one of Hungary's greatest national treasures, is carefully preserved. This crown was used for the coronation of Hungarian kings for centuries and remains one of the country's most powerful symbols of independence and statehood. Just beside the museum entrance, you'll notice this black monument. At first glance, it appears quite simple, but as you get closer, you'll see hundreds of bullet holes covering its surface. This memorial honors those who lost their lives during the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. Its black color symbolizes grief and mourning, while the bullet holes represent the violence and gunfire of the uprising. More than just a monument, it stands as a silent reminder of the struggle for freedom and the heavy price that was paid. The largest monument standing directly in front of the Parliament building is the Lajos Kossuth Memorial. This impressive statue honors Lajos Kossuth, one of Hungary's greatest national heroes. As one of the leaders of the Hungarian Revolution of 1848, Kossuth fought for Hungary's independence from the Austrian Empire. That reason, he is still regarded today as a lasting symbol of freedom and national independence. Now we're on Andrássy Avenue, one of the most famous streets in Budapest. If we called this the city's most magnificent boulevard, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. Stretching for about 2.5 kilometers, Andrássy Avenue is lined with historic palaces, luxury boutiques, elegant cafes, and beautiful buildings that make you feel as though you're walking through an open-air museum. Construction of Andrássy Avenue began in 1872. Its purpose was to create a convenient connection between the rapidly growing city center and Budapest's newly developing districts. Before long, it became much more than a transportation route. It evolved into one of the city's most prestigious addresses. Here's another fascinating fact about this avenue. Running directly beneath our feet is Budapest Metro Line M1, one of the oldest electrified underground railway lines in continental Europe. Opened in 1896, it is still in operation today, carrying passengers beneath Andrássy Avenue. One of the avenue's most remarkable landmarks is the Hungarian State Opera House. Opened in 1884, it was designed by one of Hungary's most celebrated architects, Miklós Ybl, built in the neo-Renaissance style. The opera house is truly breathtaking, with its statues, grand columns, and exquisite stone carvings adorning the exterior. Its elegance is evident from the moment you reach the entrance, and it is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful opera houses in Europe. If you're visiting Budapest, be sure to take your time walking along this boulevard. Admire the architectural details of its buildings, and don't miss the chance to see the opera house. This is one of the very best places to experience the elegance and charm of Budapest. Now we're standing at St. Stephen's Basilica, one of the most iconic landmarks in the heart of Budapest. This magnificent church is dedicated to St. Stephen, the first king of Hungary. The moment you step inside, you'll be amazed by its enormous dome and breathtaking mosaics. The basilica also houses one of Hungary's most treasured relics, the Holy Right Hand of King St. Stephen. If you make your way to the top of the dome, you'll be rewarded with spectacular panoramic views of the city. If you're visiting Budapest, don't leave without experiencing this incredible place. Now we're at one of the most powerful and heartbreaking places in Budapest, shoes on the Danube Bank. At first glance, these look like old metal shoes left along the riverbank. But in reality, each pair stands as a silent witness to one of history's greatest tragedies. This memorial was created in 2005 by sculptor Gyula Power and film director Can Toge. The 60 pairs of iron shoes commemorate the Jewish victims who lost their lives in Budapest during the Holocaust. In 1944 and 1945, members of the fascist Arrow Cross Party militia brought thousands of Jewish people to the banks of the Danube. At the time, shoes were valuable possessions, so the victims were ordered to remove them before they were executed. They were then shot at the river's edge, their bodies falling into the Danube, leaving only their shoes behind. You'll notice that every pair of shoes is different. There are men's shoes, women's high heels, and tiny children's shoes. This is because the victims were not only adults. Women, children, and the elderly all shared the same tragic fate. Today, visitors leave flowers, candles, and small stones inside the shoes. These simple gestures have become symbols of remembrance, respect, and the promise that this history must never be forgotten. Now we'd like to talk about one of Budapest's most iconic landmarks, the Chain Bridge and the famous lion statues that seem to stand guard over it. If you're visiting Budapest, chances are you'll cross this bridge at least once. It's not just a bridge connecting the two sides of the city. It's also one of Budapest's most powerful symbols. Opened in 1849, the Chain Bridge was considered a remarkable engineering achievement for its time. It takes its name from the massive iron chains that support the structure. When the lights come on in the evening, with Buda Castle rising in the background, the view becomes truly postcard perfect. The giant stone lions standing at the four corners of the bridge are almost as famous as the bridge itself. And of course, they are at the center of one of Budapest's most well-known legends. According to the story, after the sculptor János Marshako completed the lion statues, people gathered to admire his work and applauded him enthusiastically. Then, a little boy in the crowd suddenly shouted, "But the lions don't have tongues." Everyone immediately looked at the lions' mouths. Believing that his terrible mistake had been exposed, the sculptor was said to have been so overwhelmed with shame that he threw himself into the Danube River and took his own life. The interesting part is that this story is nothing more than an urban legend. If you look carefully, you'll see that the lions do, in fact, have tongues. They were simply sculpted in a way that makes them invisible from below. Even so, the legend has become so famous that many visitors to Budapest still make it their first mission to check whether the lions really have tongues. Now we're in one of the liveliest areas of Budapest. This is both the heart of the historic Jewish Quarter and the center of the city's nightlife. The street we're walking along is Dob Utca, one of Budapest's most famous streets. Right in the middle of Dob Utca is Gozsdu Udvar, a unique passageway made up of 7 interconnected historic courtyards. Once home to merchants and craftsmen, these courtyards have been transformed into one of Budapest's most popular gathering places. Of course, you can't leave Budapest without trying Hungarian cuisine. One of the must-try dishes is Hungary's famous goulash. Made with slow-cooked beef, vegetables, and paprika, this traditional dish is rich, hearty, and absolutely delicious. Another local favorite is langos. This popular street food consists of deep-fried dough topped with garlic, sour cream, and plenty of cheese, one of Budapest's most beloved treats. After dinner, it's time for cocktails. The stylish bars of Gozsdu Udvar serve not only classic cocktails, but also creative drinks inspired by Hungarian flavors. The combination of music, atmosphere, and historic surroundings makes this much more than just a place to eat and drink. It becomes an experience in itself. In short, Dob Utca and Gozsdu Udvar are among the most special places where Budapest's rich history meets its modern energy. If you truly want to experience the spirit of this city, I highly recommend spending a few hours here. Yes, it's time for us to say goodbye to Budapest. Today we showed you 7 incredible places, each reflecting the unique beauty and charm of this amazing city. With its rich history, the majestic Danube River, and its dazzling night views, Budapest is truly unforgettable. We hope you felt the city's magic and brilliance as you explored it with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Until our next adventure, Take care. May the sparkle of Budapest stay with you wherever you go.